Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this week's video, I am joined by Elena. So Elena, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Elena. I am 19 and I am a model and I'm represented by Zebedee Talent, and I'm also a law student at the University of Birmingham.
So let's jump straight into it. So how is it being a law student?
It's demanding, definitely. I think I've learned how to kind of really structure my life in a way where I can kind of adapt to a lot of different scenarios and situations and really plan myself accordingly.
And what would you say the hardest thing would be with your disability?
I think the difficult parts with having a disability and studying a law degree is that well, for me, I have very bad eyesight. I'm partially sighted, so I do get a lot of visual fatigue. So it does kind of take me a little bit longer to kind of read all like our reading that we have week to week. And I think understanding that even though I might have that barrier, it's not something that I can't overcome.
And if you could tell society one thing about your condition and being a law student, mostly to educate people, what would you say?
I think you don't really see a lot of people with albinism within the legal sector, and I just would say that even though there isn't that representation, doesn't mean you can't be that representation and be that change and kind of change things and shake it up.
And that's exactly what this is, to show that no matter, you can do anything if you put your mind to it.
100%.
So tell me a little bit more about your childhood.
As a child, surprisingly, I was very outgoing. I was a social butterfly. I'd make friends with everyone. But I think as I kind of grew up, I became a lot more introverted and a lot more kind of to myself. But definitely as a child, I was doing all kinds of things and making friends all the time.
And being blind, has that affected your mental health?
I think being partially sighted hasn't really affected me negatively in terms of my mental health. I would say more like albinism as a condition itself has, as opposed to like my eyesight. I think it's something that as at a young age, I've just kind of accepted and been like, okay, what is the way forward? And I've just kind of been very pragmatic about moving forward.
Yeah, and so how old are you, sorry?
I'm 19 and I'm turning.
Yeah, so 19. So what would you say if you could tell your 12-year-old self something? What would you tell them?
I think I would tell my 12-year-old self that you are going to become everything that you wanted to become, and you are going to become the woman that you've kind of wanted to establish your whole life. So that's the one thing I would say.
So, so tell so how many so what have you so you're a law student now, so how tricky is that with having albinism? Does the way you get work, is that affected?
So, I mean, there are different things that are put in place for me, particularly. So, for example, if I am doing coursework and I need an extension, then sometimes that can be granted to me if, I do have visual fatigue. But I think I'm the type of person where I do like to get things done very quickly. So, I don't really use that from time to time.
No.
But I think, those provisions are put in place. So,
Yeah, definitely. So how did you ever receive any sort of, oh, I'm not sure if that will work, when you wanted to become a law student, but because obviously you've got albinism, so did that affect people's outlook on you?
I think for me personally, I'm a very open person and I've always been very vocal about what I wanted to do. And luckily for me, people have been incredibly supportive with what I've wanted to do and how I wanted to progress. I think I'm very fortunate that I do have a big community behind me who've been incredibly supportive. And, I think just having that has really pushed me forward.
And what's it like working with Zebedee? Because obviously you work with Zebedee and you're a law student, and obviously does that affect things? Because obviously, do you have to sort of balance out, right, well, I've got this shoe but I've also got my coursework, so what, you know?
I think it's all just down to planning. It's like, for example, if I'm going to a shoot on the way there, I'd be like reading cases, for example, and just kind of, you know, with the time that I have, just making sure that I'm structuring and planning myself accordingly. I think it's difficult, definitely, and it is a lot, but it's not like something that I can't do. So
And how do you think we can, what do you think we need to do to change society's perceptions of us as a visually impaired community?
I think understanding that like visual impairment can look very different across the board, and just understanding it's, you know, a case by case scenario, and it's not just like one blanket thing. I think understanding that it can vary through individuals is really important.
Definitely. And I think, what you're trying to promote is absolutely amazing. I think, and you being a law student as well, I think that's absolutely amazing. And I take my hat off to you because, I mean it, it must be tricky, but you're doing it and you're proving society wrong for the people going, well, that's not going to really be possible.
Mm. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed having you on my channel. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for joining.
Thank you.
And yeah, I look forward to seeing you at the top.
Definitely. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.